People often confuse narcissism with confidence. They see someone who talks big, demands attention, and never admit mistakes, and think, wow, that person really believes in themselves. But this gets it backwards. Narcissism isn't strength. It's weakness disguised as strength. Real confidence comes from knowing yourself well, including your flaw. When you're genuinely confident, you can admit when you're wrong because your self-worth doesn't depend on being perfect. You can listen to criticism because you're secure enough to learn from it. You can celebrate other people's success because it doesn't threaten you. Narcissists can't do any of those things. They need constant praise because deep down they're terrified they're not good enough. They can't handle criticism because it pokes at wounds they never let heal. They see other people's wins as their own losses because they think there is only so much success you could go around. Think about the strongest people you know. I bet they're not the one who never stop talking about how great they are. They're probably the one who ask good questions, admit their mistakes, and make you feel heard when you talk to them. They don't need to put others down to feel good about themselves. The narcissist's need for attention is like an addiction. No amount is ever enough. They always need more praise, more admiration, more proof that they matter. This isn't what strengths look like. It's what desperation look like. Real strength means being able to sit with discomfort. It means facing hard truths about yourself and working to improve. It means caring about other people's feelings even when it's inconvenient. None of this is easy, which is why it takes real strength to do it. Narcissists often rise to position of power because they're good at selling themselves. They're confident speaker and they promise big things, but once they get there, their weakness shows. They can't handle setbacks. They blame others when things go wrong. They surround themselves with people who only tell them what they want to hear. The irony is that narcissists are trying so hard to appear strong that they become weak. Their fear of looking bad makes them unable to take the risk that real growth requires. Their need to be right at all times makes them unable to learn. Their focus on themselves makes them bad at the relationships that actually make life worth living. But today's problem runs deeper than just individual narcissists. Every day, millions of young people scroll through their phones and see the same things. People who seem impossibly confident. These influencers have never doubted themselves. They always have the perfect comeback. They turn every setback into a lesson they're grateful for. They speak in absolutes and post quotes about being unbothered or knowing their worth. This looks like strength, but it's not. It's narcissism dressed up in motivational quotes and good lightning. The problem isn't just that young people are seeing fake confidence. It's that they're seeing so much of it that they think this is what real strengths look like. Research confirmed this concern. Studies show that narcissistic traits are increasingly prevalent among Generation Z social media users, with platforms facilitating and reinforcing narcissistic behavior through validation seeking and self-promotion. A comprehensive study published in the Psychology Research and Behavior Management Journal found that social media addiction and narcissism are deeply connected among young people, significantly impacting their self-esteem and life satisfaction. The research reveals how social media environments encourage behavior that look like confidence but are actually rooted in insecurity. When your main example of successful people are influencers who never admit mistakes, never show genuine vulnerability, and always position themselves as the hero of every story, you start to think that's normal. But the ancient Stoic understood something this influencer missed entirely. Seneca, for example, wrote about recognizing our limited understanding about life, ourselves, and the world around us. True wisdom, he argued, comes from acknowledging what we don't know. This is the exact opposite of the influencer culture that demands you always project certainty. Social media rewards narcissistic behaviors because it's engaging. Drama gets comments, controversy gets shares. Humble, thoughtful content often gets ignored. So the algorithm keeps showing young people examples of fake strength while burying examples of the real thing. Research from the Newport Institute confirmed that social media narcissism is increasing among young adults, with studies showing that young adults are already the most narcissistic age group. The platforms themselves are designed to reward the very behaviors that look like strengths but are actually signs of insecurity. This creates a generation that mistakes arrogance for confidence. stubbornness for determination, and self-promotion for self-respect. They never seen enough examples of genuine strength to recognize it when they encounter it. Marcus Aurelius, who had real power as a Roman emperor, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say strengths come from never being wrong, always having an answer, or getting everyone to admire you. Epictetus, who knew genuine hardship as a former slave, taught, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings." This is the opposite of the influencer mindset, which turns every conflict into proof of how right they are. Real strength is messier than you see online. It involves admitting when you're wrong, asking for help when you need it, and sometimes just sitting with difficult feelings instead of turning them into content. But you won't see much of this on social media because it doesn't get likes. Real strength often looks boring from the outside. It's the person who listens more than they talk. It's the friend who admits when they don't know something. It's the leader who takes responsibility when their team fails. It's the parent who apologizes to their kids when they mess up. None of this makes for viral content. You can't build a personal brand around "I was wrong about something today" and learn from it. But this is what actual growth looks like. Research on the Dunning-Kruger effect show that people with limited knowledge in an area often overestimate their competence. Social media amplify this phenomenon dramatically. A recent study in the Journal of Communication found that knowledge overestimation leads to increased social media engagement and creates attitudes that dismiss expert knowledge in favor of common sense. This explains why influencers can speak with such certainty about complex topics. They literally don't know enough to know what they don't know. And their confidence tricks young people into thinking this is what expertise looks like. The influencer playbook is simple. Act like you have everything figured out, share your secrets for success, and never let anyone see you struggle in real time. If something bad happens, wait until you overcome it, then post about how it makes you stronger. This creates a highlight reel that looks like strength, but is actually just careful image management. If you want to be strong, don't try to convince everyone you already are. Work on becoming someone you can respect. Listen more than you talk. Admit when you don't know something. Care about other people's problems, even when they're not your problems. This isn't about being humble to the point of self-denial. It's about understanding that real strength comes from the inside out, not from others see you. When you're truly strong, you don't need to prove it to anyone. It just shows in how you handle yourself when things get difficult. The tragedy is that young people are hungry for real examples of strength. They want to know how to handle difficult emotions, build genuine relationships, and find meaning in their lives. But instead of getting wisdom from people who've actually figured these things out, they're getting performance tips from people who've figured how to look like they have. If you're young and trying to figure out who to learn from, look for people who can say, "I don't know," without shame. Look for people who ask questions instead of always having answers. Look for people who can be happy for others without making it about themselves. These people might not have millions of followers. Their content might not go viral, but they're showing you what actual strengths look like. As Epictetus taught, accept imperfection, study your own failings, and focus on what you can control. The next time you see someone who seems impossibly confident, ask yourself, are they strong enough to be wrong? Are they secure enough to let others shine? Can they handle it when things don't go their way? If the answer is no, you're probably looking at narcissism, not strength. That's worth more than all the motivational quotes in the world. Okay, if you made it until the end of the video, thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see the next video, and I'll see you in the comment. Cheers.